Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. This is my first video, so I will just jump straight in there and I will tell you a little bit about myself and this video. So my name's Chloe and I am 21, soon to be 22 later this month, and I am a sufferer of a rare genetic connective tissue defect known as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I also suffer with hypermobility and fibromyalgia. And this video is pregnancy, EDS, and me. So this video will document the last 13 weeks and 5 days that I have left of this pregnancy. I am a little late starting my pregnancy progress videos. It wasn't something that really had crossed my mind until I thought about doing a video that combined pregnancy with EDS, and literally just putting it out there that pregnancy and EDS is out there and it does exist, and just to give you a little bit of insight on what my life's like living with this condition and being pregnant. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. So a little bit of a background on EDS. EDS is, like I said, a rare genetic connective tissue defect. It means that the collagen that is in my body does not work. It has a defect. And that defect affects my ligaments, my tendons, my muscles, my skin. My sort of blood vessels. I bruise quite easily. Which is why I hate getting blood taken, because I bruise really easily and they are really painful sometimes. Hypermobility is, as some people say, double jointed, and I know that doesn't seem really painful, but it is. For some people it's really painful, depending on how it affects you. So I have hypermobility in my back, which is the biggest part of my body that is affected by myalgia, mobility and EDS. My back is really, really sore constantly, all the time. I'm never not in any pain. The pain has a threshold, so I have my pain threshold, and there are days where my pain will overtake that threshold and I have to sort of adapt to it. When the pain overtakes the normal pain threshold that I have and that I have had every day with this condition, it's classed as a flare-up, it's classed as a bad day. There's not a lot I can do. There's not a lot the doctors can do. Unfortunately, for this condition, there are no cures. You just have to learn to live with it. So my back is constantly rock solid. I don't have much movement in my back muscles. They are pretty much like concrete. I have many of times compared myself to a concrete slab. I've had a joke with my fiance Tony and said I should just go and lie outside, because I am like a concrete slab on my back, which sounds terrible, but I've had this condition. I was diagnosed. I got my official diagnosis in 2016, but I got referred 4 years ago. So I've dealt with this for about 5 years now, even though I was born with it. It took a dancing injury for it to be made to the surface, for it to come to light that I did actually have this problem. But before that, while I was dancing and running, I was having lots of injuries which were all ligament or tendon related. So I was tearing a lot of ligaments, I was tearing a lot of tendons, I was having problems with my joints, I was having problems writing in school. It's because the hypermobility affects my fingers. I can do an example. I have incredibly flexible fingers. I don't want to put anybody off their tea or their coffee. So I have incredibly flexible joints. My back is incredibly flexible, my hips are incredibly flexible, my knees and my fingers are incredibly flexible. And all the while I was dancing, and running, I would have injuries which would not make any sense. I was sort of going to hospital every 4 weeks with a torn ligament, or a torn tendon. I tore the cartilage in my knee. I have no idea how I did it. I bruise really easily, like I said. So I've woken up in the morning and had bruises on my legs, on my arms, and I've absolutely no idea how they get there. It is just the slightest knock will cause a bruise or needles. So that happens. Myalgia is a rheumatoid muscle problem, so it affects all the muscles, and it's localized, and it's often followed with like stiffness, sleep interruption, everything like that. So my sleep has been interrupted for as long as I can remember. I sleep around about 2-3 hours, and then I wake up. I'm up for a couple of hours, and then I crash, and it's sort of like a vicious cycle. You don't get a good night's sleep. You always wake up tired. Fatigue is a big part of it as well. You get tired a lot more often, and especially being pregnant now as well, you get tired of being pregnant. So if you combine the two fatigues together, I mean, it's really tiring. And some days you just think, I can't be bothered to get out of bed. And there are some days where I generally can't get out of bed. I can't do things that a normal 21-year-old would do. I say that in the nicest possible way. I don't mean that I'm abnormal. I just mean that things that everybody does every day, so getting dressed, making a cup of tea, making food, I can struggle with those things, and I do on a daily basis. I struggle at times to brush my own hair. I struggle to wash my hair. I struggle to get clothes on sometimes. I struggle to get undressed. And I need Tony to help me. So Tony will help me get ready if needs be, or will help me get undressed if I can't do it. I can only lift my arms so high to get t-shirts off and things sometimes. So it's nice just to have Tony there to help me do it. Same with washing my hair. I can't sit or stand for incredibly long periods of time, so having a shower is handy. However, in the new house, as you can tell, we're in our new house because we are still decorating, getting rid of this purple eventually. And you can tell that this is mostly Tony's office by everything behind me. And you can tell what Tony likes most, which is Iron Man, Avengers, Fallout, and Assassin's Creed and things. Anyway, so yes, I struggle washing my hair. I struggle to brush my hair. I struggle to dry my hair. And when you're pregnant, it does take a lot out of you, and you can struggle to do those things as well, or you can struggle to get dressed because of bending down, struggle to do shoes because of bending down, because of a growing bump and things. So I'm incredibly lucky to have Tony to help me with this. So going back to pregnancy, me and Tony found out that we were expecting a baby when we were one day off 12 weeks. So we were almost 12 weeks, totally through the first trimester when we found out. It was the back end of April when I started to suffer with nausea. I wasn't actually being sick. I just had the feeling that I was going to be sick, so I was constantly running up and down the stairs, if you can call it that. I don't do much running anymore because of pain, but I was sort of hot-footing it up the stairs to make it to the bathroom. I wasn't throwing up. I still had my appetite, and it was just really odd, is the best way I can describe it. I originally thought I had a bug. So I left it for a little bit and thought, oh, it'll be a 24-hour thing. I will be fine in a few hours. once it passes. Then I thought I had food poisoning because I was still wanting to be sick but not actually being sick. I think it did reach the point where I remember saying to Tony, I wish I was just being sick because I cannot deal with this whole nauseating feeling anymore. But I still, like I said, I still had my appetite. I was still eating. I think the only thing that me and Tony can pinpoint that we noticed is that I went off tea. I love cups of tea. Tea, love tea. Not a coffee drinker. Tony's a coffee. But I love tea. And I didn't want it, had no interest in it, which is very unusual, not like me at all. Normally I sit in the morning with a cup of tea in my hand and that is me set up for the day. And I didn't drink tea at all. That was one of the main things that we noticed. But we didn't think that I could be pregnant, as I was on the pill, which I took every day. And me and Tony were due to get married this year on the 25th of November. Tony proposed last Christmas. It was very beautiful. And we set the date for the 25th of this year. We were going to do 2018, but we could not wait that long. We just wanted to be married and be husband and wife, and then obviously things have changed now because baby is coming along. We are having a son, our first son together we are having, and he is due the 14th of December, so he's going to be a Christmas baby. So yes, about 2 weeks passed and Tony turned around to me and said, you're going to have to go to the doctors. This is sort of ridiculous, like you're feeling really sick, we need to know what's wrong, because obviously we are aware that I have my conditions and we didn't know if it was something to do with them, because you can have digestive problems with EDS. I will put links to the NHS website that explains what EDS is and the different types of EDS. There are different types of EDS. I'm EDS with hypermobility, but I was originally referred with classical EDS. So yeah, there can be crossovers where you can have a bit of both, which I think in my case I may be possible. So yes, Tony was like, we need to go to the doctors, you need to get checked out, we need to make sure this isn't anything serious. So we made an appointment at the doctors and Tony said, you know what the doctors are like, let's just go and get a pregnancy test and then at least we can rule it out, and when we go on Wednesday the doctor will ask if you're pregnant and we can say, no, we took a test and we're not pregnant. So good idea, because it just saved peeing in a pot, really. And obviously, like I said, pregnancy hadn't really crossed our minds because we were focusing on getting married and wanting to move house, and I'm at university, Tony was working, so, and obviously the big factor was I was on contraceptive, so we didn't really think that it was possible. So the Tuesday before my appointment, I went and got a pregnancy test, and I went and bought some cake for me and Tony from our favourite cafe up where we used to live. And I remember I got a few things from Asda, including the pregnancy test, and I got the cake, and I came back home and I said, oh, here's everything, and I said, I got you some cake. And Tony went and sat and ate his cake, and I just slipped off upstairs to go and do this pregnancy test. I thought I'll just do it because I was so convinced it was going to come up negative that I could just walk downstairs and say, right, I'm not pregnant, so we need to figure out what is going on. And I took a pregnancy test and I was waiting 3 minutes and I had 2 positive lines, which was mad. And I still have that pregnancy test. I've kept it because it's our first child together and it's nice to keep hold of memories and things. So I've kept that pregnancy test. I was just, it wasn't panic, it was more shock. I didn't really know what to expect because I'd still been taking my pill every day, so I was There was a little bit of shock, there was a little bit of panic that had I damaged the baby, because I'd been taking my contraceptive tablet, as we had absolutely no idea how far along I was at all, which was really scary. So I called Tony up, I shouted at him, and bless him, he brought his cake up with him, because his reason was he thought I had vomited up blood or something, and that's why I was calling him. It was to double check that, there was no blood on my sick, which wasn't the case. He thought I'd been sick and I'd coughed up a little bit of blood, and I was showing him a positive pregnancy test instead. So two different ideas of what was going on there, and I showed him the pregnancy test, and much like Tony's appetite, the colour in Tony's face just upped and left. He went white. He lost his appetite and just looked at me and was just in total shock. Hadn't really sunk in yet. Of course, we'd planned to have children in the future once I'd completed my degree, once we'd moved house. That was sort of 3 years into the future when we were married, moved house, and I'd finished my degree and I was qualified and in a job. So yeah, it was a big shock, big shock. But we went to the doctors and we said, I know why I'm being sick, or wanting to be sick. And they said, oh really, why? And I said, I have 4 positive pregnancy tests in my house, and they're all telling me that I'm pregnant. And this doctor just smiled and said, oh, I see. We ended up doing 4 pregnancy tests because not that we couldn't believe it, we just needed to make sure. So we took 2 normal ones and then 2 clear blue ones. The clear blue ones told me that I was 3+ weeks, which was a nice sort of indication of how far along I was. The doctor estimated that I was around about 7 to 10 weeks pregnant. She wasn't totally wrong. So we made the necessary arrangements with the midwife, because obviously the longer we had to think about this, the more excited we got about it. So we made an appointment to see the midwife, and obviously she was aware of my conditions, and I told her about my conditions and everything. And we went for a scan because we did not know how far along we were, and the only time that we really thought it could have been was when I had a crossover period of contraception. I took the implant. I had the implant removed on the 14th of December. That's wrong. I had the implant removed on the 14th of February. Sorry, 14th of December is little man's due date. And I started the pill. So we think that maybe there was a crossover period. We're not entirely sure. So we were working out that I would be like 13 weeks pregnant. We weren't wrong. We went for a scan and I was a day off 12 weeks. So then a week later I went back and had my 12-week scan, and baby had grown, and it was lovely. So combined in pregnancy with my EDS, everything has been fine. Excuse me, an itch. I'm under a consultant at the hospital that we go to where we live. They are very pleased with my pregnancy, with my progress. They are very pleased with how I'm dealing with the pain, even though I do have days, where I can't get out of bed, or I struggle to get out of bed and I struggle to do things. I've seen physio once, and I was given a maternity belt just to put around and under bump, so that it takes the pressure off my lower back, which is a godsend when you are walking places to stay active and things. So yes, I see my midwife and I see my consultant. I've seen my consultant twice now, and both times I've been incredibly happy with baby's growth. I don't have to have any growth scans, which is brilliant news, because that means that they are not worried about baby's growth and baby's weight, which is amazing. For someone who's never been pregnant, it's absolutely amazing to think that the hospital at this time, at 26 weeks, have no concerns, which is amazing. and it's so reassuring as well. I then have to see my consultant at 28 weeks, which is 4 days after my birthday. I see them on the 26th of September, and I'll be 28 weeks. I have to see them to talk about how I'm doing, how I'm coping, and things like this, and what they plan to do next. I then have to see the anaesthetist on the 30th of October to discuss, obviously, if I was to have a C-section or if I was to require a C-section. Fingers crossed I really don't need one of those. Interestingly though, I cannot have an epidural with my back condition because my joints are already very lax and my ligaments are already very elastic, more than they should be. If I was to receive an epidural, I wouldn't be giving birth naturally to my son. So I can't have an epidural. I've opted when I do my birthing plan, I've opted just to have gas and air. That's not because I want to experience the full pain of childbirth. It's more because I don't really want to take anything unless absolutely necessary. It's in my birthing plan that, drugs should be on site, so like pethidine and things. They are on the list, but to only be given to me if I am absolutely screaming in agony and I can't take it and I'm struggling to give birth to our son. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Sorry, that's my dog. Well, that's my dogs. So I apologise about that. So yes, so I can't have an epidural. Fudge. Sorry, excuse me. This is Fudge, everybody. Say hello. You're crashing my pregnancy video. So just please go down there. Fudge has the cone of shame on because he's just recently been through an operation himself. So that's why he has the cone of shame on. So yes, I can't have an epidural. I can't. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I can't have. So I have to discuss sort of like anaesthetics with the anaesthetist and everything like that, which is totally fine because they are aware that I can't have an epidural. From what I've been told, I'm not allowed to go the 2 weeks over just because of the amount of pain that I may be in when I sort of reach 37, 38 weeks. So I won't have the 2 weeks over, which in a way is sort of a blessing in disguise because I think that if I was to go the 2 weeks over, I don't think I'd be very good in labour. I think I'd be in a lot of pain and that would take over because obviously baby is going to be a lot bigger and is going to be ready for birth. Yeah, so my pregnancy so far with my condition has been not easy, but it's been manageable. I do not take any medication at all. I'm not allowed to because of me being pregnant. I don't even take paracetamol. And I know that sounds really silly as to why would I not want to take paracetamol. I don't take paracetamol for 2 reasons. It does not affect my pain at all. It's not strong enough to do anything for my pain, and it's not just me I need to think about. It's obviously the baby, and I know that doctors do prescribe paracetamol, but I don't really see the point in taking paracetamol because, like I said, it doesn't do anything for my pain. I would require something a bit stronger, which I can't have until at least after I've given birth to our son. The other thing I wanted to mention was blood group. Sorry, 2 moments. Sorry for that jump cut. My dog is trying to jump up to see out the window. People person. So yes, the other thing I wanted to mention in this is blood groups. I never knew what my blood group was. I never knew what blood type I was. I thought I was O, like my mum. but I'm not. I'm actually rhesus R negative. And what that means for baby is that at 28 weeks, I have to have blood taken and then I have to have a blood injection. And I'm not a huge fan of needles, and I'm not a huge fan of bruises. So that is just the worst nightmare ever. But it's for the baby's own good, and it stops antibodies developing in the womb. So if me and Tony were to have any more children, it means that the antibodies wouldn't affect the next baby. So it's an anti-D blood injection, which is really useful. So there is that. Excuse me. So there is that. I'm trying to think of what else, because all of my dogs have just decided to come in and crash my video. I can't really think of anything else, but the best thing that I can probably advise anybody who is pregnant is surround yourself with lots of really good people. I have an amazing support system in respect of Tony's family, so his mum, his stepdad, his sister, his brother, you know, everybody's, you know, we have a really good support system around. My dad, even though he lives in Texas, my dad and his wife Martha are extremely hands-on, are extremely supportive. Susanna's even said that she will quite happily take me and Tony to the hospital when it is time for a little man to make an appearance, which we cannot wait. We have like 13 weeks and 5 days to wait until he arrives. So we're really excited about this. We are really excited about getting the room and everything for him. We've got clothes, we've got bottles. I intend on bottle feeding my son. I do not intend on breastfeeding him. The reason for that is, and I know everybody, including midwives, do say that breast is best. I don't not agree with that, but for myself to hold a baby up here while I breastfeed him, it's going to be too much on my back and it's going to hurt. And then obviously there's the whole, if I was to get mastitis and things like this, I don't want to make it any harder to feed my son more than it is. So I opted to bottle feed him, because then at least if I'm holding him and I'm bottle feeding him, if I was to have pain or experience a spasm or anything like this, at least I can hand our son over to Tony and say, could you just finish feeding the baby? I need to stand up and walk around because I do struggle. I try not to fidget as much in this video, but yes. So yes, I'm 26 weeks pregnant right now. I won't make a video of every single week of my pregnancy unless I have a bad day. I have had bad days, but they're not been as frequent as I thought they would be. I think I've really surprised a lot of people. I think I've surprised my consultants the most about not suffering badly with bad days. They're not been as frequent as most people would think, so I'm really quite pleased with that. So yes, I'll probably make a video at around about 30 weeks and then maybe 35 weeks and a one later on as well, if obviously he does make an appearance, you know, before. I'm not saying he will, but you know, there is always that possibility that he could arrive early. We just never know. And then once he is here and everybody is settled and sorted, a few sort of maybe a month after I've given birth and we're all settled and I'm healing and whatnot, I will make a post-labour video. So I will do a video on how the labour was and what happened and everything like this. Obviously not too much detail, but I will let you know how the labour of it goes. So I am going to leave it there. I do apologise for my dogs interrupting this video. It's absolute madness. So yes, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. Since I now can drink tea, I can drink tea. I've been able to drink tea for 4 months now. My morning sickness subsided in around about 4 months. So sorry about that. So that's really pleasing. That I've been able to drink tea from then. So I'm going to go and have a nice cup of tea, and I hope that everybody enjoys their Sunday, and I will get this video uploaded hopefully today. So have a great Sunday and have a great week ahead, guys. And if you want any videos requesting, so if you want me to do a video that speaks more in depth about EDS and fibromyalgia and how it affects me on day to day and how it's affected me before I was pregnant, that is absolutely no problem, and I can do that. Just request it down below in the comments box. If you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comment section, and I will reply to you as absolutely soon as possible that I can. So yes, have a great day and have a great weekend, everybody, and a great week. And I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye now. Bye, guys.